What's going on, everybody? This is BroncoJuggalo, and today I am talking about the 1986 film, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. This is the follow-up to the original 1974 Texas Chainsaw Massacre. This film was also directed by Tobe Hooper. Yes, I said Toby because everybody's insisting I said it wrong, so okay. Tobe Hooper. It stars Dennis Hopper as Lefty, Caroline Williams as our final girl, Stretch, Bill Johnson as Leatherface, and Bill Moseley as Chop Top. The only returning cast member from the original movie, Jim Sydow, who plays the cook, or Drayton Sawyer. In this story, a retired Texas Ranger goes looking for the Sawyer clan after the murder of his nephew, Franklin, and the story that Franklin's sister has told. His name Lefty, he played by Dennis Hopper, and he likes to play with chainsaws, which is a point I'm going to get into in this movie. Now, I would like to give a word of reassurance and also a word of warning. I don't like this movie, guys. I really don't like this movie a lot. And I watched it last night again, and I still didn't like this movie. I know that I had some things to say that a lot of people did not like about the first film. And I'm probably going to have a lot of things to say about this one people aren't going to like. But, with that being said, overall, I really like this franchise. And overall, I really think there are some entries in this franchise that are very, very awesome. This is just not one of them. This is a Golden Globulus produced, Canon Films made movie. Now, Canon, for those of you that even know what Canon is a defunct 1980s company who is pretty much only known for bad movies. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, the Masters of the Universe live-action film, and the very terrible Superman 4. This film had a $4.7 million budget, and it made about $8 million in theaters. It barely made more than its budget, guys. It was considered a commercial and financial flop at the time, as are most Canon films. Even though I have a huge soft spot for the Masters of the Universe film right here. This film does have a cameo by Joe Bob Briggs, and it still carries an X rating. You can get this in unrated format. It wasn't until 2001 when it came out on DVD that they gave it a R rating version. So there is a R rated version out there, and then there's the original cut X rated or unrated version. Now, for this being a movie that I can't stand, and I can't stand it, guys, I actually own like 3 or 4 copies of this film. I think 3. No, 4. Because I have it in a dual pack on DVD. I have a single edition DVD for my Texas Chainsaw Massacre collection. I have a sealed VHS because I found it and it was sealed and I like the cover. And then I have this one, which I bought off of Celluloid Terror. Go check out his channel. He's an awesome dude. I'll leave a link for it up here. Bought this from him because I love that cover art. I mean, tell me that's not sick. That's just badass. So yeah, for a movie that I don't like, I'm dumb because I buy multiple copies just because I like the way they look. And for the first time in my life, I agree with the critics. Roger Ebert says that this movie falls flat, not delivering any of the goods that the original did. And I agree, it falls flat on its face. And I think that the TV Guide review pretty much sums up my feelings on this film. The TV Guide review said, "It seems with this film, Tobe Hooper had nothing but hate for his original creation and did everything he could to tear it down." And that's how I feel with this movie. All the things that I had to say about the Texas Chainsaw Massacre aside, I still really like that movie. And all the things I had to say about Tobe Hooper, I liked that movie. I truly felt that with this film, especially when he said things like, "This is the way the original was supposed to be," I think he was basically taking his own quote-unquote masterpiece and rubbing it in the dirt and saying, "Oh, this is what I really wanted. That other thing I made that you all love is just a piece of shit." That's how I felt. So yeah, I know there's going to be people that are going to hate me for saying that, That's how I feel about it. Okay, this movie is so silly and so dumb that it makes no sense to follow up the original. Now, people say all the time, and I've said this a million times, so I'm just retreading old territory here. Well, you like Freddy's Dead and Nightmare on Elm Street Part 5, and Freddy was a joke then, and it was all campy. How come you don't like this one? Because Freddy didn't just jump from scary to campy right away. It took a gradual build-up of sequels to do that. This one just totally flipped 180 degrees on a dime. And I didn't like that. It made Leatherface a joke. It made the things that we liked about the original a joke. I do have a couple pros here, guys. Okay, just a couple, and then I'm going to get into my rest of my thoughts. I like the opening narration. I like how it echoed the original. I thought that was pretty cool. You know, the scroll across the screen and then also the guy reading it. I thought the gore and makeup effects were really, really cool. And that's something else I wanted to address with this film. It turns out that Tom Savini came by the set, and he decided to lend some of his talent to this production. Now, he's not credited anywhere. I watched the entire credits just to make sure. He is not credited anywhere. They had some really awesome, really good gory kills that he designed and he did, and they all made it on the editing room floor. Why? Because Tobe Hooper said that it wasn't about that with this movie. It was about the comedy. The only reason it's as gory as it is because Golem and Globulus stepped in, the producers, the people that own the rights, stepped in and said, wait, you made a comedy. At the screening, this is what they said when they screened the film. We don't want a comedy. We want to see the monsters. We want to see the monsters. They wanted Texas Chainsaw Massacre. They did not want this. And everything I can say negative about that studio, they were right. I think if we would have gotten more of what was original, this wouldn't have flopped. But that being said, I do like the gore and the gore makeup effects we do get in this film. I think it's pretty good. With the exception of when Leatherface is being stabbed with a chainsaw by Lefty and it's like going in. It looks kind of cool, the stuff coming out, but it's this big bulge on the side of his stomach that you can just tell is fake. It's supposed to be, I guess, his belly or his fat, but it's not. It just looks like this big plastic bulge coming out of his side. And I thought that was the one weak point in the gore and the effects on this film. In my opinion, the best scene in this film is when Leatherface takes Stretch's broadcast partner's, her studio manager, or radio studio manager, or whatever he's called, the station manager, takes his face and puts it on her, and then they dance together. That is the best scene in the whole movie. I thought that scene really captured the spirit of the first movie. That one scene, guys, that's it. Getting into negatives, I'm going to start with my biggest negative from the cast. I do not like Leatherface, guys. I'm sorry. But in a Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie, if you don't like Leatherface, you don't like the movie. I don't like Leatherface. Leatherface was terrible. Bill Johnson is not a good Leatherface. The only thing Bill Johnson knew how to do was take the chainsaw and go, that's all he did. I hated it. I thought he was a terrible, terrible Leatherface. Leatherface never came off as weak in the original. He comes off as extremely weak in this movie, and I don't like that. I'm not a big fan of Chop Top. In fact, I can't stand the character. Chop Top is the twin brother to the hitchhiker. And he was off in Vietnam while all the stuff in the original was, I guess, going on. Not even... Vietnam was it Vietnam over by then? I don't fucking remember. I can't remember exactly the year Vietnam ended. He replaces the hitchhiker in this movie, which I wish he wouldn't have. I thought the hitchhiker was a much better character. I think him picking at his scab with the coat hanger on the metal plate in his head and then eating it is just kind of gross and not at all interesting. It's just kind of redundant. This is one role I don't like Bill Moseley in. I like Bill Moseley a lot in a lot of roles. I love him as Otis. I love him in so many other films. But this role, the one that everybody praises him for, I can't stand. It's so dumb. Chop Top is an annoying and stupid character. I don't like the sets, and I don't like the setting, especially the setting of the Sawyers' home, which is like this defunct amusement park, and it's all underground. I find it to be extremely... I get what they're going for. They're going for bizarre, and that's how I found it. But I found it bizarre in a bad way. It didn't make any sense. Why are they in this frickin' place? Especially since Drayden Sawyer is a bit of a local celebrity and with his catering business. You would think he would have a actual, place where he made the meat as his front or whatever. I mean, it doesn't explain how he became so big and started winning all these chili cook-off competitions when they're hiding out in a freaking amusement park that's defunct with body parts and shit spread everywhere. Even outside, there's dead bodies everywhere. How did nobody notice this? The thing that really gets me with the setting is the Magic Mountain scene, as I like to call it. And that's at the end of the film when Chop Top is chasing Stretch up that fake mountain. And in the cave at the top is Grandma. And we've never had Grandma in the movie before. And they think that Grandma's alive, even though Grandma is very obviously dead. And that whole plastic-looking, fake mountain scene, that set just bothers me. It's so weird and funky looking. It looks so misplaced in a Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie. I don't want them in an amusement park. I don't want that. I want them in an old, crappy-looking house that's totally fucked up and has got bones and shit strewn everywhere. You know what I'm saying? I don't like it. I don't. I'm sorry. I hate this fucking movie. Lefty is another fucking one that I can't stand. This man right here. Dennis Hopper is a great actor. And this is a terrible role for him and a terrible movie. I wonder how much they had to pay him to be in this film. He is obsessed. This scene right here. He is obsessed with chainsaws because of the chainsaw that was used to kill Franklin. Remember, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, only one chainsaw kill? Well, guess what? There's only 2 kills in this whole fucking movie. And only one of them was with the chainsaw. He goes in here and he buys 3 chainsaws to go and do battle with the Sawyers. I'm sorry, you would have had a lot better luck with a gun. You're a fucking ex-Texas Ranger. And for some weird reason, you think it's poetic justice to go after them with chainsaws? You're as fucking batshit crazy as they are. And yes, I get people are going to say, oh, that was the point. It's supposed to... Yeah, it might be, and it's stupid. It's just stupid. It's a scene where there is pre-recorded screams being used as Stretch's screams in the movie during the dinner sequence in this film. And that's another thing that I didn't like about this movie. They basically tried to copycat the dinner sequence from the first film. Regardless of the issues I have with the movie, the dinner sequence is considered classic. And for them to just go back and try to recapture that to put in this film, I didn't like that. They should have done something new and different. But they did. They did a dinner scene again, which kind of becomes a motif in this franchise. One thing I found really funny about this movie is what the fuck does Leatherface have against Pepsi? Man, he goes to town on them sodas in the radio station. And he's spraying ice and shit just everywhere with that saw. Caroline Williams was saying that Toby Hooper was telling her, be sexy, be sexy. And she's like, I didn't realize I was going to have to get that fucking wet and cold to be sexy. They're spraying me with ice and soda and all kinds of shit, and I'm just not liking it. I don't get it. What's Leatherface got against Pepsi, guys? He goes to town on some Pepsi cans. Guys, I'm sorry. I could go on forever about everything I don't like about this movie. I don't like Stretch as a final girl. I think she's a terrible, terrible final girl. Not a bad actress. The actress is fine. I don't like the character. Oh, this is something I have to talk about. I have to. The ending of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the chainsaw dance that Gunnar Hansen performed, that he did, by himself, that helped everybody realize what a great Leatherface he was and helped him establish this great character. They tried to do it again with Stretch in this teeny tiny little space on top of this fake mountain. And she's trying to dance and kind of look like he did, and it looks very confined and like she's trying to do it while she's trapped. And I don't know if they were trying to say that she's going to be the next Leatherface, that she's going crazy, or if that was her dancing in triumph that she got them. And I don't know, but I didn't like it at all. I thought it totally disrespected the dance at the end of the original. And that's why I say I really feel that Tobe Hooper was trying to hurt his original creation. People can say what they want of that. They can hate me for it if they want. But that's how I feel. And yes, I still promise I will talk good about some movies in this franchise eventually. I promise. Please don't give up on me yet, guys. I would say ride this movie out for the gore. But since there's really only 2 kills, 2, and one of them is a hammer kill, and then you realize that the guy's not even dead. He comes back later on, and they have to get him again. And then you can't count when Chop Top gets it, or when Drayton Sawyer gets it, or Leatherface gets it. Because one, obviously Leatherface doesn't die because he comes back in 3. Unless they're completely just disavowing this movie. So nobody in 2 is in part 3, and they don't mention part 2 at all. So I don't know if they're disavowing part 2, or if he survived, was the only one to survive, or what. You can't count, because we don't know if they died or not. We just see them disappear. We don't see anything else. Even Lefty, I don't know if Lefty actually died. So, yeah, 2 kills, crappy movie, stupid premise, stupid film. Everything in this movie is just so dumb. They tried to go with that zany black comedy, and it falls flat, and it fails miserably. Now, I know I have lots of friends out there that love this movie, and once again, I just say, why? Anyways, I know that sounded like such an asshole thing to say, but that's how I feel. Why? What is good about this? Oh, man. It's pretty bad when part 4 is way better than this one. Anyways, guys, this is BroncoJuggalo saying I will see you again with Leatherface, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 3. And I will see you with a bunch of other stuff this week. Guys, peace.
I don't think they even realize what they fucking with. Cause if they did, they know their name was on my bucket list. Before you know it, got your picture on the jug of milk. It's what you get for not respecting that I'm slugger built. Knock your head off, I just might let some lead off. I'm calling beds off, my chopper's about to set.